Welcome back to the Tool Crib. So recently I was doing a demonstration video where I showed how to change out an electrical end on an extension cord using just multi-tools. And for those two, the two multi-tools I used were my Leatherman Surge and the Victorinox Electrician, this knife here. This knife is really great for the fact that it has that little curved blade. It makes cutting around the jacketing of electrical cable just so much more efficient than just using a regular knife blade. So I got to looking at some of the other Victorinox models. I pulled out my Spirit X and I pulled out the Swiss tool. Now the Spirit X is the one I have a newfound appreciation for because of the way its overall blade design for this particular tool is really integrated around electrical work. So at the front here, or at the back I guess it would be, they have this little V-notch. Now that little V-notch serves the purpose as a wire stripper or wire cutter, and then wire stripper is designed to cut through the jacket or most of the way through the jacket of a smaller electrical wire and then slide the jacket off. The larger one is designed much like the curved blade on here. It's the horizontal cutter that will cut around jacketing of larger stuff like extension cords. And up here at the front, they have both the chisel front edge, and then they also leave this edge here, which is a draw cut edge, and that is your longitudinal cutter so that you can cut the jacketing longitudinally so that you will be able to get that portion of the jacket off, which is really well designed, don't get me wrong. I don't understand why they didn't integrate the same design concept into the Swiss tool. But because of the way I use these multi-tools, and especially the way I use my Surge as well, I think they could have designed this just slightly differently and it would have made a world of difference. And I want to show you what I mean. Now before we get into that, I want to take the opportunity to show you how well this works. So you just take that little curved blade around the jacketing of an insulation cord and you can just slice around it, and then you break it free. On this particular one, I don't even need to use the horizontal cutter, but the horizontal cutter is designed to set on there and cut down horizontally down the jacket so that you could, if you were doing a repair in the middle of a jacket. So this particular blade works just about as well as the Electrician blade. I think this one probably works just slightly better because it's a little thinner in profile, but that would be the only reason. But the overall blade design, that curved blade makes a world of difference in cutting through the jacketing, and it's very safe too, the way it's integrated in there. You now have extra blade up here where you're gonna, if you slip off for any reason, you're gonna cut yourself. So it's really well thought out, but I think I've got a way to improve it. So I went ahead and cut that jacket back a little further to give us a little bit more access to the cables, and I brought in my Leatherman Surge because I wanted to demonstrate how I use the Surge for this method. So for the Surge to do wire stripping, it has a wire stripper. It's integrated into the can opener bottle cap lifter. And what we do is I release it and then I set it so that it will collapse against the tool thereby. And so instead of trying to pinch my thumb in there and rotate that around, which is very inefficient to use a wire stripper, now I can trap the wire. Let me get it down a little further. I can trap the wire, I can set it in there, and I can actually rotate the tool around the wire instead of vice versa. Get a little bit of that jacket cut, and then you can pull it right off. So it makes a very, very good wire stripper. Now, with the Victorinox, I can't do that. So let me set that one to the side, and we'll just work on this black wire here. So with the Victorinox, you have to set it in here and then twist the wire around. Now, it's not bad. It could be better though. I like it where you could collapse the tool back, but on this particular one, because of the way it's integrated, the way it has that V, every time you try to do it, the wire just wants to slip out. So I came up with a better design, I think. Now, overall, I like this design of how they integrated all these cutters and scraper into this particular tool, but I think they can improve it, and I would like to see them do it across the board for some of their other tools. Let me show you what I mean. So I've brought the Swiss Tool X in here, and it's kind of rotated the wrong way. I should have drawn this the other way so you get a better feel for it, but nonetheless. So what they have is they have the little cutter down here at the bottom, and then they have their horizontal cable cutter or cable stripper there in the a little further up. then their their longitudinal cutter up here, as well as the chisel tip. So my idea would be, I think that they would be better off if they would reorientate this, put the little cable cutter, or the sheath cutter, the jacket cutter is what I'm going to call it. They call it the horizontal cable cutter, I believe. If they would bring that a little further down here, and then they would move this particular portion up to the smaller wire stripper up in front of that. But they need to change the angle of it. And the reason I say that is because in the way it's designed now, with that cutter like that, every time you try to crimp it and use it kind of in the way that I do the surge, the wire just wants to slip out. But if they change the design, the angle of this cut, where it went straight up here and then curved and then came back, now when you pinched it against the tool, it would trap the wire in there. And I think if they changed the design profile so that it was more in this orientation, then, and moved it further up, that way it would be more accessible. It'd be better, it'd just be better suited for that particular task. Then you could use it much in the same way that I use a surge, where I'm able to trap the wire and rotate the tool around the wire, as opposed to trying to rotate the wire inside the tool using my thumb as a pressure point to push against it. It's just very inefficient method. And if they change that around a little bit, I definitely could see an improvement on that. Now, as it is, again, I have a newfound appreciation for the Swiss tool Spirit X, but I certainly wish they would have done the same thing with the regular Swiss tool, because while this one still works, this one still has the same kind of problem. Now, the U-shape there will actually trap wire a little better, and I'm going to show you that real quick. If I, let me back out here just a little bit. There we go. So that U-shape will actually trap that wire much, much better. So even if they switch this from a design like this into that U-shape, you notice because it's further up here, it just seats better. And this one actually makes a very good cutter where you can rotate around and then strip it right off. It makes a fantastic cutter as well. So that's just my idea on what they could do to improve it. And I actually think, looking at it now, thinking about it a little more, I think maybe if they went with the U-shape here, as opposed to this style, it would be an even better tool. Anyway, my thoughts on Victorinox tools. Now, you may find that you don't necessarily agree with my assessment, and that's fine. If you guys have an idea of what you think they could do to kind of reorientate their tool set on here just a little bit in order to make it more conducive to doing those on the fly electrical tasks, I would really like to hear your thoughts on it. Just set them in the comments below. I try to engage with everybody when I can, and I would really like to hear what you guys think. My name is Ben. You've been watching the Texas Tool Crib. I appreciate your views, and I'll see you in the next one.